Hi there everyone, it is currently the 6th of September 2011 and have a few areas out here in the Western Pacific to talk about today. And those the areas indicated here, starting from the bottom and looking up, we have possible tropical development in and around the Philippines in the South China Sea and the Philippine Sea today and over the next several days. We're going to dive a little bit more into the model analysis on that and the outlook with that. Also, we still have Tropical Storm Noru moving up towards the north here. I'm a little bit flabbergasted that this is still being warned on as a tropical system, completely exposed and overall I'm becoming an extratropical system already, and actually for about 24 hours now. And also the remnants of Tropical Storm or Typhoon Talas continuing to move up into Russia and just north of Vladivostok here. Actually some reports coming out of there of some flooding up in Russia as well due to the remnants of this storm, so it continues to be a major player in the weather out here in the Western Pacific. But I do want to talk about Talas here first, continuing to get reports of damage throughout the entire area in southern Japan. Actually, here's a couple photos of the flooding down there. Even though this did make landfall as a very weak typhoon or severe tropical storm, it dropped an exceptional and unbelievable amount of rainfall. Actually 1,800 millimeters being reported in a few locations, and that is equivalent of near 6 feet of rain. Absolutely ridiculous amount of rainfall, and this is what is causing these areas of flooding as indicated here. And also we got some more photos here of just the flooding. Actually, some of these I had to try to sift through and kind of look at when I was searching for these photos, because I was actually really surprised this actually wasn't a tsunami footage, but this is more or less from Talas, and that's really surprising. And this chart right here, actually created by Weathercaster Pat out here, it just indicates the very high rainfall amounts out here in Japan. Over 600 millimeters of rainfall in several locations up and down the coast here. But the big number I really want to stress to everybody is over 300 millimeters of rainfall across the entire country, from the east to the west coast and on Shikoku and Honshu. So that just shows the massive amount of rain that did fall throughout this entire area, and this is all due to those feeder bands continuing to push on shore. And if you notice, those highest amount of rainfalls are actually indicated on this radar imagery and archive imagery from 5:25 the morning of the 2nd here, when the storm was starting to make landfall. And all these mountains right in here really enhanced the orographic lifting when this came on shore. So basically those clouds had to run uphill, they condensed, and water just fell right out of them and dumped in a massive amount of water here just east of Osaka and Kyoto. And also out here on Shikoku you see those higher cloud tops here as well, and that is all due to those mountains and also that onflow of warm moist air colliding with this area and just dropping those very high numbers of rain. And that is the reason why we're continuing to see these flooding and damage pictures coming out of here, and actually upwards of 35 deaths being reported right now and still over 50 people missing. So terrible news coming out of southern Japan still, and hopefully this news does get better. But as of right now, we're continuing to see reports of mudslides, landslides, and the ground is still unstable on top of that. So hopefully no other weather systems come through the area in any time in the future, the near future at least. And as of right now, actually that does look like the case. High pressure has ridged in behind Talas here and also Noru. And this is going to bring much more fair weather throughout the Korean Peninsula and over into Japan as these two areas of high pressure ridge in towards the southeast as these move off towards the northeast. So really good news there, and it does look like these baroclinic highs are going to dominate the weather pattern over the next several days, and actually out to a week it does look like these are going to dominate. So bringing a little bit better weather so the recovery efforts can continue down here in southern Japan. As of right now, it doesn't look like any tropical activity heading up here towards the north, but that doesn't discount any tropical activity throughout the Western Pacific. And I say that because if we look at some of the model runs, this one specifically, no gaps, this is out on the 8th, you start to see these activity right around the monsoonal trough and near and around the Philippines to build up. And this is just showing here in the Philippines. So you got an area of low pressure there up here by Hainan, and you also got a low pressure, and also northwest of the Marianas another one developing. And this is really long range out, and likely not going to see 3 areas of low pressures at the same time, but it just is indicating an increase in the tropical activity. Actually, if we compare this with the other major model player out here, GFS, you can see this entire area in here indicated in greens. That's just showing the higher amount of precipitation. But if we scroll through the several days here, you start to see an increase in that precipitation down there. And also you have this area of low pressure spinning up just north of the Marianas. So kind of on the same line with no gaps. And also in the South China Sea, you have another area blowing up here heading out towards Hainan as well. So both of these areas look like both of the models are picking up on possible development, and also they're both primed for activity given the sea surface temperature temperatures are well above 80 to 90 degrees or well above 30 degrees Celsius. So, and also over here, you just continue to have positive vorticity. That monsoonal trough continues to linger. So, good news, both of these areas look like they're moving away from the Philippines. We know that they don't need any more rainfall as well. But bad news is there is possible tropical activity, and also by the start of next week, if this one does spin up, Japan could see it move up towards this location, but that's very long range out and definitely could change within a week's time. But I do want to also stress that this is the height of the typhoon season out here, and any tropical system could impact any of these locations throughout the Western Pacific within a week's time. So just continue to check back here at westernpacificweather.com, and definitely will keep you posted on these systems if they do possibly develop in this entire monsoonal trough and how systems are going to spin out of it. And lastly, I do want to talk about Tropical Storm Noru out here. You actually can see the low-level circulation right here just south of the Kuril Islands. Now, the big thing out of this is it is going to bring some high waves up here towards the east coast of Hokkaido and the east coast of Honshu. Up here in the tsunami-stricken areas, actually, you will see some high waves and possibility of rip currents. But outside of that, it's really not organized at all, completely exposed in the upper levels, only a slight bit of convection on the southern periphery. And this is going to drift off towards the north, towards the basically unpopulated islands of the Kuril Islands up here in the very low populated areas of Kamchatka farther up towards the north. So that's really all that's going to be coming out of this system. If you actually look at the track from JTWC, you can see it indicates this system going basically straight north towards the Kuril Islands. Maxing out intensity right now is 35 gusting to 45 knots, and JTWC expects a gradual decrease in intensity. So by later today, it's actually be more or less a tropical depression, but I really think that this is extra tropical at this point, as it has a lot of cold air inflow into it. It's very dry, and it's just continuing to move north, and it's exceptionally weak. So really don't expect anything more out of this. But here, just showing the warnings from JMA, there is still these high wave warnings up and down the coast, but also I do want to mention some of the remnants of Talas, as it is moving up towards Russia, continues to see some outflow over Hokkaido here. So these are also coupled with some heavy rain warnings up and down the region. Now, not expecting to see the flooding that we saw down south, but there still could be some flooding up here in Hokkaido and along the east coast. Specifically this one right in here, JMA definitely put this out because of the tsunami hit areas. Once you start getting some heavy rainfall over these regions, the ground's already loose, and it could become very disrupted and potential of mudslides due to the already loose ground in that region. But that is all for right now, everybody. Thanks again for listening, and I hope you have a great day. Stay safe out there, and we'll continue to watch these possibilities of tropical development in the coming days. So, all right.